What is up, guys? Adam Palmer here, and I want to talk about proposals. What goes an appropriate proposal for a client looking to hire a freelancer? So the first thing, and this is the most important thing, and I think that this is one of the primary things that freelancers don't think about or don't really empathize with, and that is putting yourself in the client's shoes and what they want. So I want you to think of the point of view, POV, of the client, okay? Point of view of the client, okay? So what that is very simple most of the time, and that's to get their tasks done. And often this part is so overlooked. If you've paid attention to some of the bad proposals that I often point out, because I do a lot of hiring through the system. I started out on Upwork as someone doing hiring only, not even freelancing, right? So I've seen a ton of different proposals. And what you find is that most of the bad proposals are all the same. And it has to do with them not paying attention to exactly what the clients need. And it's so apparent often the time right in the job description. That's the beauty of Upwork. It lets you know exactly what they need most of the time, and they drop all of these, these Easter eggs. And what we mean by that is they get specific with their needs. They're not just shopping for a certain product where you might find that on other platforms. But in this case, they post their job and they're very specific about exactly what they need. And often it's so nuanced because they want to, again, this goes back to the point of view of the customer. They don't want to waste their time, okay? Because time is the most important, it's not a little clock. The time is the most important element to most of the time with these clients, because they know the most expensive freelancers, right? It's not their hourly price and it's not their, project cost. I got news for you. It's whether they waste their time and they don't understand the project and they turn out being bad and they may have to find someone else, because all too often, most freelancers don't get the job done. So there's this huge fear. I hired this person. I don't know if they're really going to be able to do what it is that I need done. And it's addressed so often in the job post itself. In that job description, like I said, they get specific. Usually in my realm, and you could probably point this out for your specific niche or industry, but it's often around the platforms that they're looking to have help with. So this started out primarily in Fusionsoft, and that's kind of why I got drawn into being a freelancer in the first place. But I don't feel like it's this specific, because I think that if you go too broad with these, it may trap you. And an example of that is WordPress as a platform. And I will come back to that in a little bit. But, the idea is in the job description, you want to find these Easter eggs of what the client needs. And that could be specific with, certain platforms or integration that go along with those platforms, or formats that they need. So if you're in the design realm, you could think of what type of design, like nuanced design. I had an example recently where I needed help with an industrial designer, and most of the proposals that I received, like, I'll show you guys that they had nothing to do with the format or, reading the job post. It was really all over the place. Another example is I needed help with, similar software platforms like the Infusionsoft, like how I got started, but this was more or less different. This was for GHL. So this is Go High Level. This is what we build a lot of our marketing assets off of, and it's tied into our agency. And we'll do another lesson on that. But I needed help for this particular platform. And again, guys, most, and I mean most of the applications that I received, and I'll try and post some of these here, most of them weren't good, man. Like they didn't even read the job, and it was very apparent. And I think if you just put a little bit of effort and some strategy into it, that does a lot more than, these different gimmicks or things like that I see a lot of, gurus or people that tell you that they can automate these job proposals. I got news for you. We've tried it. We've tried it probably more than anyone. We've probably spent more connects than anyone trying these different tactics. It's not automation that's going to get there. Automation is fun. I also have an automation company called Automate Scale, and we try to automate as many things as possible. But there's some things you can automate, like the amount of proposals you can send. And I think that this is why I try and categorize sometimes people into different buckets: beginner, and then, probably, intermediate, and then expert. But then it's also how long you've been on the platform, right? So are you a beginner on the platform and a beginner with your skills? Because, that could be a real big problem. So you're going to want to upskill and pay attention to what is needed these days, because there's a lot of different skill sets that if you just put some time into, you can explore, and that can really help you up your chances in finding work. Because what you don't want to get into is a really narrow field within the whole circle of the jobs being posted. Within your kind of, more general niche, right? Like, I think you want to not corner yourself into, or paint yourself into a corner, right? Because that's problematic, because you want volume of work. So I think you need to think about that too, in terms of like which jobs you're going to send to, because, ultimately for your conversions to work out, meaning the amount of proposals that you send and the amount of people that respond to them and the amount of people that hire, you want a conversion that's going to work, right? Because if you're just sending and spending connects and doing that type of thing, like, it's going to get really expensive really quickly. So I think you need to figure out, how to best upskill yourself first and foremost. And that could even be done by working for yourself and building your own things. And that can start with the portfolio. And I do recommend doing that if you haven't. So what I mean by that is take the time to make an outstanding portfolio, because you may need to either figure out how to do those particular skills or hire someone to do those particular skills, which will get you also in the frame of mind of becoming a business owner and understanding what Upwork actually is, which is basically a flow of time, back and forth between freelancers and business owners. Because like me, I came from the spending side, and then I became a freelancer. But then I also knew how to hire others, because, you don't want to walk away from work. You want to expand in this marketplace. And if you want to be on this system, then Upwork's going to reward people that take this the most serious. So this course on proposals is not probably for someone that's just kind of nailed into their way of doing things or their particular niche industry, because ultimately volume, again, is going to be a strategy you're going to want to play. You're going to want to roll with what is needed these days. A huge example of this is something I wasn't even really thought about much when I joined, was shorts and videos and clips, things at the top of funnel, content like that. No one was even talking about this type of thing, but it's so widely needed now with like mostly all my clients. So, getting into tentacle of that, of that system, of that content generating system could be a smarter idea. So I'm just trying to throw some examples at you guys, how to kind of reframe your mind into thinking, okay, what is needed right now, versus what did I know yesterday, and maybe I want to upskill and rise to the occasion. Upwork is a big time marketplace. So what you want to do is be able to save the client's time and lower their risk that they're going to potentially spend a bunch of money and waste a bunch of time, because time is money, right? And even worse is if they waste actual money paying a freelancer that messes it up. That's why I always say a bad freelancer is the most expensive freelancer. Not at $5.75 an hour. Like, that saves clients time and makes them money, because there is this opportunity cost most of the time with online businesses. Meaning, if you launch it today, it's much more valuable for that client than if you wait 3 months and you spend a lot of time trying to do things. But anyway, what you want to do, again, is figure out what it is they want and address that immediately in the proposal. And it does not need to take a whole diatribe of what you've done in the past and all these things. That's what your profile is going to be for. Your proposals at the top of the funnel. And then that's going to lead to your profile, right? Obviously. And then from your profile, they're going to come down and, they're really going to, and I guess by profile, I do mean more your bio, like the top of your profile, but then they're going to go to your portfolio. Okay. So it's ultimately flowing down, because first they're going to see your profile, your bio, see what you're about. They don't want to reread the same thing twice. All right. We've already talked about how time is the most important thing for these clients, and whether you understand the project or not. So by wasting your time by saying the same thing and copying and pasting and doing these long-winded things, that you'll see that 90% of the people that are bidding these projects up and spending these connects, you'll see that this is what they're doing. And don't even think about boosting if you're going to take that approach that so many others are taking. It's going to make you poor with the amount of connects that you're going to spend. And so ultimately, you're not trying to, if this is the actual deal, this is when the contract and the offer is made, right? So we're trying to get them. It's not going to happen straight from the proposal to the deal. It never does. But so many people think that they're just going to say this special, make-believe mumbo jumbo, and it's gonna get the sale. It's not the way it works. Is it the way it works with you when you see advertising like that? That doesn't even apply to you, and you're just like, click. It doesn't work. It's bad advertising. You're not gonna just buy some type of weird ad from the internet, right? You got to think about pushing them through the funnel and not trying to do this. And your profile, and this is the number one secret sauce to any real proposal, because ultimately this whole thing this whole thing is a proposal. It's not just the top. It's not just that first sentence. This is just an intro. This is just a waving of the hand. Hey, look at my profile. Come check this out. You know, you're not trying to make the sale. So you're just trying to say, hey, I'm over here. Look, I saw what you need. And by the way, like, this is something I actually kind of know. And you want to gain that journal, right? You want to bring them into the profile and create more of a magnet, a pull versus a push. You're trying to just push out everything you know right out of the gate. You're trying to draw them in. So you bring them into the profile. They can see your video, because I think that this is such a important part, and this is something too you could hire out with, getting the understanding of, you know, what goes into the proposals from the freelancer side, so you can see for yourself and be like, Adam was right. He's right. A lot of these people don't even know. Anyway, make an intro video, and that's going to really enhance your profile, because you're, again, trying to lower the risk of wasted time. That's why I spent so much time in the beginning trying to tell you how to reframe your mind into thinking like what it is clients are ultimately looking for. And that's for them to not waste time. Okay. So they're going to go into the profile and then into the portfolio. And again, this is where so many, you know, people fall off. It's the number one. It's just something I always hear, Adam, I optimized my profile. I did this, you know, like you said, and I go to their profile, and it's, you know, they did one little portfolio piece. But like I'm saying, if you need work, you should be hiring yourself to make portfolio items. And so you figure out what goes into that. I can help you. You know, we can talk about what goes in specifically to good portfolios and break that down. And we'll do that in another lesson. But spend time here and understand that this is your stage. If they made it down here, so if we think about, this is the first date, this is the second date, this is the third date. You know, this is the third date. That's an important date. And this is when they see what work you have, and this really, you know, draws them and gains the confidence in you, especially if there's continuity with the proposal. So we want to always think about that when it's the funnel, is it does everything align. You don't want to have the proposals not matching up with the profile, not matching up with the portfolio, because that's not going to gain the confidence and going to affect the risk. Okay? So proposals, profile, portfolio, and then the ultimate thing is the testimonials or the reviews. Okay? So this is number 4. This is the 4th date. This is like, is this person legit? And, you know, will the risk get lowered? So, you know, by the time they make it through here, it's more or less, in my world, try to have this proposal. And this is what's so important, and what's important in the actual proposal. And we'll break down this piece next. But the idea is to get them onto some type of call, right? And then you can make the offer, whether that's going to be project based or hourly. You know, that's entirely up to you. I prefer hourly. And then they send the deal and the offer, and we're basically good to go. And we can talk about how to prolong these contracts and actually, you know, make the value of these clients, you know, much bigger than just a batch project. So I think that is important. We'll save that for another lesson. But now let's break down the actual flow of the proposal. We want to, again, not try and make the sale directly from the proposal, but we want to have it recognize that you understood exactly what it is the client's looking for. So we want to find and try to find who these people are first and foremost, so we can attempt to address them by name. If we can dig up some clues from past reviews, something like that, I think that's always a good idea. And we don't want to say ever, dear sir, dear madam, things like that. I think that's just asking for it. So if you find the name, awesome. If not, definitely not. Definitely not dear sir. Okay, madam, anything like that. It's just not how it's done. Okay, and I see that less often now, but I wanted to just say it in case you were thinking it. Okay, so we're gonna find them below. We want to be friendly, and again, we want to scoop out those data points and those clues, those Easter eggs. So what are those Easter eggs? These are little Easter eggs. Okay. Okay. What can we extract? Did they say any platforms? Like, did they say Illustrator? Did they say Adobe? Think about it. What is their exact thing that they need? So try to be as specific as possible. Okay. Take it out, build context around it, and address it by name. If they need, like I said, go high level, say, hey, I work on go high level all the time. This is perfect for me. Be excited about it, but don't be robotic. Okay. And then maybe if you have a very specific story that you want to keep in under one sentence or less, write it here. So proof. So you want to start by just the friendly approach. Imagine just, a message, like a brief text or something like that. That's the way, because this is probably in their pocket on Upwork, because a lot of times people post jobs right from their phone. Okay. So it could be at a computer, it could be at their phone, it could be on a tablet. And then, so you want to just be quick and get to the point, but you also want to, say what you need to say within the current frame, because you only get a sentence to max to be seen in that initial bio. You only get a sliver, and you want that to open up into more description. Okay, but not too much. So you want to hook them here. Okay, hook, hello, and then be specific, and that's going to be captivating. Because remember, point of view from the client. If you're specific and you mirror what they need, they're gonna recognize that. It's very easy to see. It's gonna make a happy client. Okay? And then you want to back it up by a little bit of proof. Hey, I did this here. I take that back. I don't think you want to link off just yet, unless you do a custom loom or something like that. That's custom. And if you guys want to do that, we're going to do another lesson on looms and things like that. But if you write, I did this here, I would say don't half-ass it and have like some generic loom that's not well done, because it's not going to help. But if you do a custom loom and you say, I did this here, it has to be custom. You can't fake this, because if you try to automate, it's going to be bad news. Okay. So remember that I did this here, or, if you can just say in this sentence, I did this for so-and-so to do X, Y, Z. Don't link them off the page. Just wrap it up. This is going to stir enough curiosity to go back. If we go back to that funnel that I brought up before, that's going to draw them down the funnel, right, into the profile. They're going to proceed to the profile. And that's all we're trying to get them to do. And if we just follow that plan, you're going to have a much easier time kind of understanding, again, the point of view from the client, because it's not Upwork's fault you're not getting the jobs, guys. They have nothing to do with it. They're bringing people to the table, and you need to make it work for the client. You have to sell the client, and every client's different. Every client's unique. However, they have the same goals in mind, and and that is their self-interests. So you have to apply to that, and not just apply as the person who is in need of money, or a freelancer in need of a job, because that's not going to help the client from their perspective. So I hope this lesson has been helpful, guys. If you have any questions, please let me know, and I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.